The following is an original production of AZPM News.
Arizona Science is supported by Research Corporation for Science Advancement.
For Arizona Public Media, I'm Tim Swindle, Professor Emeritus of Planetary Science at the University of Arizona, and this is Arizona Science. Joining me today is Peter Reinthal, Director of Collections for the Department of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology at the University of Arizona. Also joining me is Matt Mayer, a recent graduate of the Department of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology who has worked on the project we're going to be talking about. Peter, you're part of an effort that recently introduced about 4 dozen Sonoyta Pupfish into the stream in the Desert Biome habitat at Biosphere 2. Why did you do that?
We did that because Sonoyta Pupfish are an endangered species, and there's only one natural population left in the wild. So by building a stream at the Biosphere, we could introduce the pupfish as a replicate population to ensure that if anything happened to the wild population, we would still have that species available.
And Matt, you were part of building that stream there. What did you do?
Most of what I did was worked on the introduction of native aquatic plants into the stream, because just kind of create a better environment for the pupfish.
What are Sonoyta Pupfish?
Well, Sonoyta Pupfish are a desert fish that are found in very limited locations. There's a number of different species of pupfish, and they are listed as endangered species. So they're very vulnerable to the various threats in the desert if their habitat were to dry up. And they look like little puppy dogs, and they actually wag their tails. So the real reason I did this project is that pupfish are very, very cute.
Okay, how big are pupfish?
They only reach a maximum size about 2 to 3 inches long.
You said that there are various versions of pupfish besides the Sonoyta ones. Would any of our listeners be likely to have ever seen one in the wild?
There's 3 native pupfish in the state of Arizona. One of them is extinct. It's the Monkey Springs pupfish. So that's why it's important to be able to save the other ones that have very limited populations. One of the most famous pupfish is the Devil's Hole pupfish in Nevada. That was one of the first cases brought to the Supreme Court regarding the Endangered Species Act in the 1970s.
And why are these endangered? Is it just habitat encroachment or something else?
Well, it's one thing that I think everyone's aware of. There's limited water in the desert, and fish need water, but everybody else wants water also. So it's important to maintain habitats and protected populations for these species for them to persist.
Do you envision, if the population at the Biosphere does well, reintroducing some of them to the wild?
Yes, we would like to reintroduce them into other habitats in order to have more and more replicate populations and to ensure the genetic diversity of the populations. So one experiment we're doing is we're looking at the genetics of the population we put into a captive population to see how the genomes respond to an inbred closed population.
Now, the lack of water is not the only thing facing endangered species. There's also invasive species, and I understand you've been doing some work on that, Matt, right?
Most of my focus has been removing invasive yellow bullhead catfish from native fish recovery streams in southeastern Arizona, including Bonita Creek and Aravaipa Creeks, which are both well known for having large native fish populations.
This is one of just a few populations of the Sonoyta pupfish left. Will you be trying to interbreed them, moving fish from place to place?
There are 2 other captive populations. One was a pond in Phoenix we got some fish from, and there's another one at Saguaro National Park, and we're going to be getting some fish and supplementing them into the Biosphere. In addition, we're going to be adding another species, the Gila top minnow, into the stream there, which is another endangered species that's found in Arizona. And wherever you find pupfish, you used to find top minnow at the same time.
Will visitors to the biosphere be able to see these fish?
Yeah, they'll be able to see the fish and they'll be able to see the habitat. We're constructing interpretive material. And that was one of the things that made me really want to put it in Biosphere. They get about 80,000 visitors a year. So that's an opportunity for 80,000 people to learn about pupfish because they aren't the most charismatic terrestrial megafauna.
How did this project come about?
Well, a couple of years ago, I took my ichthyology class up for another project we were doing in the mangrove habitat. And I was talking to John Adams and Jason DeLue at Biosphere and said, oh, gee, it would be really cool to put a stream in. So John said, write a grant. So I was able to work with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Agency to get support to build the stream. And then Jason did an amazing job of building the stream and moving tens of thousands of rocks and digging the stream to put it in.
Where are the Sonoyta pupfish still found in the wild?
They're only found at Quito Baquito Springs at Oregon Pipe.
Peter, presumably there are other things besides Biosphere 2 where you are trying to save endangered species.
Yes, there's a number of endangered fish species in the state of Arizona. And one place that we've been doing a lot of work is Aravaipa Canyon, where we have the largest continuous monitoring data set of any place in the country for these endangered fish. There's 2 endangered species there, spiked ace and loach minnow, and they're the last natural population in the state. So not only have we been monitoring, but I've taken probably 400 students out there during my career, and it's inspired many of them to go into the aquatic sciences. Plus, we're able to look at the genetic diversity of these fish to understand the importance of diversity in their ability to survive.
Well, thank you for talking with us. Our guests today have been Peter Reinthal, one of the leaders of a project, and Matt Meyer, a student working on that project, to bring some of the endangered Sonoyta pupfish to Biosphere 2. This is Tim Swindle, and you have been listening to Arizona Science. You can hear more of this conversation and others on our Arizona Science segments by going to the AZPM podcast at azpm.org.
Thank you to Research Corporation for Science Advancement for their support of Arizona Science.
This has been an original production of AZPM News.